Yo, what's up, people? We got our final week one series between Team Ghost and T1 Tempest out of Group C. Um, it was played yesterday, but wanted to kind of showcase and give these teams, their justice since we covered the rest of the week one teams. It'll be just me today, just casting over these replays a little bit. Mage Hand unfortunately could not play for Team Ghost this week, so they got Zelda guy to sub. And Zelda's been a staple midliner that's played on a couple of different teams here, most notably Team Team. I think the last two splits. So really a seasoned competitive mid laner. So we'll did not unfortunately get any part of the draft here, so we're gonna just move straight over to the gameplay, and we'll let this have a little bit of fun here. So while everything's getting positioned here, we see
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Zelda guy on Hwei. Zelda been really good solid Hwei player the last couple splits. You got Havoc in the top lane
30
on
seconds until minions
Renekton, again a
spawn.
really talented top laner. We have Lionel Johnson, who I believe is a returning member, and Esco was on a team last split as well here for T1 Tempest. So we see Mbessa versus Renekton. Typically, Mbessa's been banned for the most part. The split, and I think whatever game she's in, she has like a 80-90% win rate. So it's
Minions have
champion's quite
spawned.
oppressive in the hands of talented players. So we'll see. We see Xin Zhao here on the side of T1 Tempest. Xin Zhao particularly not played unless it's like double enchanter comps, but I think enable him quite well. So this will be interesting to see what this Xin Zhao will do or be able to do. He's diving into quite a bit when it comes to Ashway, Skarner, Renekton here. And Leona can lock him down as well. So quite interesting to see the Xin Zhao here. We'll see how effective the champion is. You have one of our uh, returning 80 carries and Geico. Anybody who's been around the league knows Geico is like an absolute insane 80 carry. Played for Team 2 the last couple splits, and just absolutely just had a bunch of pop offs here. Really excellent team fighter, and just overall just a really solid 80 carry. So see how this ends up going. Looks like got a little bit of trading here in this top lane, but all in all, like Renekton gets the early level 2 here, so Syndra doing her best to kind of last during this Hwei matchup. Hwei does kind of win it early, but then as Syndra starts to get more and more levels in, she can start to burst down this Hwei quite easily. So seeing early level 2 coming out of the bot lane here, and just kind of slow pushing this in a little bit. We're seeing kind of a little bit of CS lead coming out. You see Xin Zhao ends up coming in here, slowing Hwei. So and that's first blood going over the Xin Zhao. Havoc though pressuring top side. The Mbessa was pretty close to giving over first blood there, but all in all, nice gank from the side of the T1 Tempest lineup. And here comes Xin Zhao coming up top lane with Havoc being pretty low health, so Xin Zhao making some stuff happen in this early game. So that's 2 kills for Xin Zhao against this Team Ghost lineup. We see Skarner kind of hovering this bot side here. See if he can put a little pressure here. There's no real wards in the river, no wards on the Tribush either. So here comes Skarner looking to gank. Didn't land the E onto Aphelios, so that's a turn back around. I think this is the first time we've seen a Syndra and Aphelios here in this week 1. So I think if I remember correctly, there's roughly about 100 unique champions played in this week 1 between all of these series here. Leona's just kind of donating some health to stop the back here on Aphelios. which I think is pretty smart, but then Leona ends up flashing forward. You get the cleanse coming out by Aphelios here, but then you got the ignite going on, and Ocean ends up falling on this Leona, but potentially, yep, Geico ends up taking out Rules Aphelios here, so good, nice trading overall. They end up having this lane pushed in, so Rules gonna lose about 2.25 ways here. I think is massive. So, see Zelda trading quite well into Syndra here. So, all in all, once all said and done, it looks like T1 Tempest has about a 900 gold lead here at the 5-minute mark. We'll see what these teams want to do with the Grubs coming up here soon. You got Dragon coming up as well. It looks like Zelda was super close to poking out Hexify there. So we'll see Syndra having the back and burn this teleport. See Zelda kind of looking for a sneaky QW there. See some decent trading over here from the top laners. See a Hex Flash coming out here by Ocean on this bot side. It looks like Aphelios and them are trying to fight back, but here comes the junglers in here. See if they can create anything. Leona ends up dropping first here, but Geico's spacing super well here on this Ashe. Still hasn't had to burn any summoners on any of these bot lane trades. Skarner ends up having to flash away there. We have a big trade here in the mid lane. Syndra opening up just a touch of a CS lead here. Once she hits that level 6 right here and gets 40 stacks for her first evolve, which she's close to, this lane really starts to favor her. So, can't say I've seen the Arcane Comet on Syndra. Typically it's for Striker Electrocute, which I think I like Electrocute a little bit more in this matchup because you're just looking to burst down a target mainly way. The Syndra doesn't have like much access to the back lane once turrets start to fall and teamfights start to happen. So, but we see this Mountain Drake going over the Team Ghost here. So early Mountain Drake here. Xin Zhao is on these grubs here. So just trading grubs for Drake. There's Syndra's first upgrade there, so now she has 2 stacks on her Q. We see Zelda potentially going down here. Yeah, Zelda ends up getting solo killed here by Hexify Syndra. So we start to see this matchup turn Syndra favored after level 6, and yeah. So we'll see what they end up doing if this Syndra gets pretty accelerated. You got the mid jungle duo of T1 Tempest sitting on 4 kills right now, and overall T1's got about a 2,000 gold lead coming out here. We see a really nice cleanse coming out by Rule here. We see Skarner ends up showing up here on this bot lane fight. Skarner ends up impaling Maokai here. Maokai ends up taking a turret shot here, so Maokai's going to fall here. We see Geico flash forward to get a slow there. And it looks like, yeah, Hui TP'd bot as well, so that's a shutdown going to Zelda's Hui here. And we see a turret dive coming out by Havoc that ends up going south here. So Lionel L. Johnson ends up getting a kill off of that turret dive by Havoc, and then Hui ends up sniping Rules of Helios here. So all in all, that's about a looks like a 3 for 3 after that sequence happens. So it's still roughly about 1,000 gold lead now. So Team Ghost ends up clawing back just a little bit during that whole sequence. See, Syndra ended up burning cooldowns here also. This Leona roam is actually perfectly timed. Syndra ends up getting hit by that Hui QW and has to back a little further down. We know that Aphelios doesn't have cleanse here, so we see Geico end up going forward off a gank from Skarner. It ends up trading 1 for 1, so both AD carries end up trading kills there. Oh, and Zelda guy ends up face checking that Xin Zhao here. He ends up dying, and then there's a double kill going over now when Skarner followed him in here. So we end up seeing a 3 for nothing coming out for the side of T1 Tempest here. We see a little bit of a turret dive coming out of Mbessa, but ends up turret's still a little strong right now. So we have the second set of grubs up. We have second dragon coming up here. Looks like Team Ghost wants to stack these dragons quite heavily here. So that 4 members showing up. Xin Zhao's on these grubs at the top lane here. So 6 grubs will be super nice for their push, because they also scale. So if they win a late game team fight, these grubs are going to be super helpful. But we'll see. So, Hui finishes first item, Skarner on hard steel. And Bessa's got first item, Xin Zhao's got first item. About halfway done the second item, actually, with those 5 kills. And Syndra ends up going after a Blackfire Torch here, which I think is quite interesting. I know there are some beefy frontline members here, but I don't think Blackfire has the most value when you're trying to just burst a champion down. We see an ult coming out here, but Cleanse end up having to get burned by Rule. So Geico using this this Ashe ult like quite heavily when it's on cooldown. We see a dive coming in for the bot lane of Team Ghost here. See if it ends up being, yeah, it ends up being a 2-for-1. Geico ends up having to cleanse away from the Maokai ult since Xin Zhao was on his way down. But all in all, I think that's a pretty good dive. Puts the bot lane of Team Ghost in a really good position as Aphelios keeps losing wave after wave off of this aggression. Here we got the DBZ fight going on between Renekton and Mbessa. Nice flash by Syndra to get away from Skarner ult. And Hui ult at that point. And Hui ends up flashing away. I don't know if he thought Syndra was lining up an EQ there. We see a really big heavy trade coming out on top side of the map, and the junglers are looking to try and support their top laners here, so we might end up seeing a 2v2 in the river coming out. But they're going in on Renekton to try and burst him out. That was Mbessa ult used, and then here comes Zelda on Hui here, just supporting his team. That ends up being a kill going over to Hui and a shutdown going over to Skarner here, so nice TP going over there, but Hui ends up just barely living here. I think if the Syndra had loot, she ends up bursting him there. But that was a shutdown going back over to Havoc. The bot lane still being super aggressive. Geico ends up taking out Rule here in a 1-for-1, but Maokai also gets a shutdown off the turret. Now we have supportal combat going on here. So, curious to see. I'm probably going to venture that Ocean's going to not get away from this. Ah, and the flash ends up taking Maokai over, so Esco ends up taking down Ocean there. So, all in all, it ends up being 14 kills to 11. And a 1,000 gold lead going over to the side of T1 Tempest here. Actually, no, sorry, not 1,000. It's less than, it's like 200-300 here. Yeah, it's about even. We see Xin Zhao coming up here. Renekton is doing its best to 2v1 this. Havoc ends up, yeah, he ends up turning this around. Gets a solo kill onto, Xin Zhao there in a 2v1 situation. But here comes Syndra up here. Syndra's going to have to use ult and gets that shutdown off of Havoc here. So Syndra ends up getting two big shutdowns here. She's 3-1-2, 135 CS. She's about 200 gold up on Hui here. So Hui, I believe, did also get a shutdown or two. So, but this all this fighting here is accelerating the Syndra quite heavily into this mid game. We see Team Ghost here stacking again these Drakes. This is going to be their third Drake at 18 minutes, so you're looking at about a 24-minute soul here, which is pretty quick based off what we've seen here in the regular season. Here's an ult coming out here by Geico. And it looks like they're going to turret dive this bot lane here. And that's a beautiful Skarner ult to get both of them. Here comes a TP in by Mbessa. You got Hui also walked down here as well. Esco ends up falling down. Hui Alt ends up getting Mbessa here with also a QW. Seeing a little bit of pressure get put on this tier mid 2 here with the 6 grubs by Syndra. So trying to attack the turrets here after this dive bot side. But you got Geico 6-2 and 4 doing really well. Ocean, while having 7 deaths, has been very valuable dives to try and get the CS and experience away from Aphelios. I mean, Geico's 2 levels up on Rule. He's 40 CS up, 2 items already. Like, they've done quite a bit of work prioritizing this bot side in this 2v2 and even jungle as well. See Team Ghost kind of posturing here, trading some valuable cooldowns in this river fight. But now it looks like they pushed the wave in. They might start this Baron. Yeah, we got a 21-minute Baron coming in. Let's see, they're taking this down quite quickly. Maokai ult's not up. Syndra ult is, and Mbessa ult is. Let's see what happens with this Baron fight here. Looks like Xin Zhao's posturing for a steal, potentially. And Xin Zhao ends up stealing the Baron, but at what cost? Because there's already 2 down on the side of T1. There's a 3rd one going down here. Let's see if they can end up picking off the last 2 on this chase. Nope. So that ends up being a 4-for-1 with T1 Tempest stealing the Baron here. Ghost ends up taking Prio to grab this mid-tier 1. And Bessa's over there like baroning up the minions, so the push is a little bit slower than what it should be. But we'll see. I don't think Mbessa can still hold this turret, especially with Skarner now showing up threatening a dive here. But it looks like they're going to back off since the rest of the T1 members have spawned up. So, see it ends up being a Baron started up by Team Ghost, stolen by T1, but they get 3 kills on the way out. So Baron only on 2, only on Syndra and Mbessa. And we got Dragon coming up here in about 20 seconds. I think they're going to force T1 to fight on this Dragon, and I don't think Syndra is going to put in the most amount of work here. She's still not like fully scaled up. Let's check her stacks. She's got 99 stacks here. So that ends up being 100 stacks. But here she is trying to face taking the Ashe ult a little bit, but flashes away here. Xin Zhao dives, but Geico on the back line here. You can't get to him thanks to Skarner. And we see Renekton and Leona kind of holding the back line of T1 at bay here. And Renekton just literally 1v4ing this back line. And Xin Zhao ends up costing his life trying to get to Geico here. So Team Ghost might potentially end up grabbing this soul point. Syndra ends up picking off this Renekton here. And Leona's here stalling time. And that's Dragon ends up taking over to Team Ghost. So they end up getting this this Cloud Soul. I think this Cloud Soul is actually really, really good here. Especially if Skarner ends up like landing an ult, he'll have enhanced movement speed to yank whoever he grabs just further into the team comp here. It also makes this Cloud Soul makes it hard if they're trying to, if T1 Tempest is trying to get a pick here when you have some smaller skill shots like Syndra's stun, Xin Zhao's sweep. Even if Ambessa tries to dive a fight, like hitting her ult's going to be that much harder if you haven't done damage beforehand. But we see Xin Zhao going after, and there's the Cloud Soul we were talking about with Skarner grabbing Xin Zhao here. Geico's now on a killing spree. He's at 3 items now. He's 8-2-7. So all of this pressure that this bot lane created and juggle presence for this Ghost bot lane is paying off big time. And there's an Ashel coming in onto Syndra with a Leona ult coming back here, so they're going to end up taking down Leona as Havoc gets a shutdown here. Geico looking in mid-season form on this Ashe here. See the Maokai ult coming down, as it looks like Team Ghost is just kind of frontlining in their base here, but that's so many chakrams coming out on Aphelios that was not worth the fight. Havoc ends up getting dropped here. We see some chakrams starting to get stacked up again. Double kill coming out to Aphelios. Let's see though, Geico's got a front line in front of him. See if he can end up doing that, and Geico ends up taking down the rest of the lineup here, while Zelda guy is pushing this bot side here. And Skarner ends up falling to a turret here, but Havoc TP's in, so they do have a little more of a frontline presence. Still there. Team Ghost doing what they can to take all these jungle camps on the way out. So, 22-25 kills. Team Ghost has all 4 dragons, including Cloud Soul. They're up by about 5,000 gold lead. So, Geico having a 60 CS lead against his counterpart. Geico ends up being about 4,000 of that gold lead ahead of Rules Aphelios here. So if they can get the Geico and take him out real fast in these team fights somehow, then that's a majority of the gold lead away. But T1 Tempest kind of having to push out these super minions here gives tempo to grab this second Baron here. First for Team Ghost, as the first one got stolen. You see Syndra kind of using these 6 scrubs to get a little bit of a push on the bot lane, but I don't know if she's going to end up getting this turret. She's going to have to back. This mid inhib's going to drop. Now you're going to have double supers coming out in the next wave here. We have Maokai ult coming down here. Just either look for an engage or create some space. So you got Mbessa diving the back line here, but Leona ends up stunning Mbessa. And they turned on her real fast to take her out. You have a nice Ashol coming out on Xin Zhao here. Double kill coming for Havoc. And Geico ends up taking out Xin Zhao after that ult. So the Zelda guy on a rampage as well. So Team Ghost ends up taking this first game on against T1 Tempest here. Check out some of the client stats here. So all in all, really solid game from both sides. I mean, T1 put up a really good fight, but man, into the mid game when they kept putting so much pressure on this bot lane, eventually it cracked open. And yeah, there's the damage chart here. We see Syndra kind of topping the damage charts to be expected for T1 Tempest, but Geico and Havoc doing their best to pull out this win for Team Ghost. But look, Team Ghost looked really solid, especially that dragon stacking here. So alright, so let me go ahead and shift over to this, and I will grab game 2. And here we go for game 2. So we have Zelda guy on the Aurora here, which is another pick he is very well known for. He's got it banned out quite a bit last split. But you see Corki coming out to the side of Hexify here. And you see a Jax and a Garen coming out by Havoc in the top lane here. So very interesting draft here. That might be our first Garen of the split. So yeah, definitely a few first-time champions coming out here. You see Rule on the Jhin, Esco on Alistar here. So pretty decent scaling on both sides coming from the bot lane here. Let's see if Hexify can use some of this early pressure that Corki can create against Zelda and the team comp of Ghost here. So you got T1 Tempest on the blue side here for game 2 and Ghost on the red side. And note, Team Ghost only has 1 TP, where T1 has 2.
Minions have spawned.
So we'll see if that comes into play here. Havoc taking the Ignite into the Jax lane. Also, interesting that Havoc took Conquer as well. Typically see phase rush on Garens, but I'm not a Garen player, so I will defer to the experts on that one. We have Rel and Zaya kind of camping this bot bush here. And Geico ends up popping the Ghost here. See, they look like they're going after Esco, and this is going to be first blood going over to Geico here. So, similar story to last game where just the bot lane of Team Ghost is putting a boatload of pressure on the T1's bot lane. So, and Ocean ends up dismounting forward to pop Ignite on and take out Rule. The Rule smart enough to turn back around in auto, so it wasn't a straight execute here. But see, we end up having Havoc taking out Johnson here up top after a really big trade from both sides here, but the Ignite difference ended up taking out Jax here. So really busy early game here. We already see Team Ghost has a 1,000 gold lead within 3 minutes here, as there's already 4 kills. So we're averaging 2 kills a minute right now. We see a gank coming out here by Sejuani. She ended up flashing in there trying to get the stun onto Garen. And it looks like we see both mid laners are going to end up getting their first backs and TPing in here. See Geico and Ocean setting up looks like a slow push here, but doing their best to zone out. But we see a dive coming out from Sejuani here. Let's see if Sejuani can end up taking it, but the dive ended up failing, and Sejuani ends up getting blasted by the turret here. And see what this lane state ends up coming. Like, you have Garen having Ignite coming up here in about 30 seconds here. And then we see Skarner end up returning the favor here. Ends up forcing Jax to flash away. We see Alistar trying to do his best to get Rel into turret range here, but it wasn't enough, and Geico returns back. And a nice pullback here from Geico. You see Ignite coming up here from Havoc, and see if this ends up taking out. It does not take out Jax here. So Jax ends up getting one back off of Garen. Geico throwing out a little bit of banter there, as he normally does. And Ocean was looking for a rule there in that brush. He was real close to taking him out. We see again these top laners trading, but Jax is level 6 here. So, see what happens. Skarner ended up starting the grubs, but Sejuani's here to kind of push him off of it. So that'll be end up being 2 grubs to 1 here, favoring the side of Ghost. Still no Drakes have been taken either. Both of these tank junglers don't have the quickest tempo to take Dragon. Oh, nice flash ahead though to get rid of the headbutt pulverize from Geico, or from Esco. Zelda ends up dropping this mid wave here to try and get something off topside here. We see Skarner is coming down as well to cover Geico. Geico ends up getting a small little snare onto Alistar. And that'll be the third kill going over to Geico. Now let's see. I think they have an ability to dive this. Yeah. Dive was much better than I thought. Only because Rule decided to move forward into the lane here. So, Geico having himself a fantastic series so far. He ends up being 4-0 here at 8 minutes, and Team Ghost is up by about 3,000 gold, just a little under that. Corky and Aurora ended up almost trading there in the mid lane, but Zelda had backup there, so it's close. Zelda ends up trying to push his lane out, but gets pushed back here by Sejuani here. Sejuani trying to waste the ult and get a little cheeky kill on her, so. Nice trading over here by Jax. But we see Team Ghost again. Not as quickly as it was last game, but they're prioritizing these Drakes quite heavily here. Ends up being the first Mountain Drake going over to Team Ghost. Nice trade, but Geico just has the audio advantage. Geico ends up being unstoppable there. Geico's now up 40 CS here. We see the mid lane's up about 15. But a bunch of these plates golds are going over to the bot lane here. There's Alistar ult here, but still not enough. And then Skarner ends up coming down as well to dive this bot lane in between the turrets. So any and everything they can do to keep this bot lane down, Team Ghost is thrown at them. And Geico is 3 levels up now, at level 8. And it's going to end up being first turret going to Geico and Team Ghost. He's already set on an SS server as well. Corky ends up going forward to trade with this Aurora here. And Aurora ends up having to burn ult to get out. So there is a little bit of shining light here from this T1 Tempest comp, as mid lane seems to be going in their favor. Top lane is about even, and I would almost think Jax would kind of outscale a little bit, but we'll see. But this bot lane is not having a great time. Here's Skarner coming up. But Sejuani's up here as well. But Rel ends up making the roam up here. You have the rest of the bot lane kind of unleashed on this map as Zelda goes bot side to pick up the bot wave, and Zelda's mid. So here's a TP coming out by Corky to protect his top turret. Seeing Geico's just got the ability to 2v1 this. But nice Skarner all coming out, grabbing Corki here. Corki's going to end up falling over here, so this game's starting to get out of control for T1 quite heavily. Nice ult by Geico to dodge the headbutt pulverize, and then he had Aurora from over the side here using this the buff she got recently on their range, taking out Alistar while Geico focus fired down the Jhin. We see a turret dive coming out by Jax here. And Jax ends up falling to Aurora. Just, I think overestimated his damage here as he's not even on a completed item. So that dive was super risky, but well played by Zelda guy to not only get the damage from the ult, but give himself an ability to bounce out. And the Jax running out of the ult ends up slowing him enough that he takes 2 extra turret shots there. So this is starting to get way out of hand as we're at the 14-minute mark. Plates just fell, and you got a 7,000 gold lead by Team Ghost. Because out of that 7,000, 5 of it is on Geico. Jeez Louise. There ends up being a little bit of aggression there on Geico, but his team responds really, really well to help him get out of there. And Aurora ends up TPing in, creating some space, but Alistar ends up finding his way into the backline. He can't get out, so Alistar ends up going down as well. As Esco now just not having a great game here. But, I mean, the bot lane just got heavily focused here. They were getting dove in between their turrets here. Geico ends up taking out Jhin as well. And while they're threatening Dragon, that gives Havoc enough time to grab this top turret here. Corki collects his top wave. They're going in on Garen here. That doesn't have the greatest amount of tank stats, but you see Blast Cone getting hit to get Ocean out. You see Jax now getting in and getting a 3-man counter strike as Geico had to hold that, but Geico ends up turning around. He's just has so much damage now on 2 completed items. Yeah, I like the attempt by T1 there, but they're just ended up getting gold diffed here as the 4 members of Team Ghost, as Zelda was pushing bot, just threw their pocketbook and wallets at the opposing team here. As Havoc ends up taking the Rift Scuttle to the bot side here. See if he can do the 180. He doesn't. But Rift is now bot lane trying to go after his turret. See a flash counter strike coming out by Jax, but they end up CCing him before he could take the Between Two Worlds out. Nice dodge there by Sejuani. Off the Skarner E. You see Corky kind of brush cheesing Zelda here a little bit, but he was sitting on a ward. And here's Havoc also doing the same on this Jax here. See, they have a chance of taking out Havoc here. Havoc's so far ahead though. So, but we see them turn onto Ocean here, so Ocean ends up falling. But here's Geico and Skarner. Jax ends up jumping in as his turret falls here. But Geico's got so much damage here. It was just kind of a last-ditch effort to see what they can do. And Geico ends up flashing forward here. We see Team Ghost ends up getting this top inhib off their gold lead here, and they are up now 12,000 gold at 20 minutes. Looking at going after this third Drake here, which is going to end up being a Chem Tank soul for this map here. So if they grab this third Drake here, they'll be on soul point. You see Zelda guy, looks like he's trying to burst out this Corky, but ends up underestimating or overestimating his damage, I should say, there, and ends up falling there. So Geico just end up falling easy to the front line to just push everybody away here. As Aurora also TP's in to secure the kill onto Sejuani. See, this might be the last ditch effort coming out by T1 Tempest here, as Havoc is pushing the top lane with a super minion here. Zelda guy keeps looking for picks and looking to burst people down here with this Aurora. He's super far ahead as well.
There's no use
running. Sejuani ends up not getting Geico and Zaya here. Zaya has a 100 CS lead over Jin here. They have done their very best to make it to where Jin has a lot of difficulties playing this game here. Ghost ends up getting the mid inhib here. So, yeah, we're just over, just a little under 12,000 gold right here, 725. And we have the Soul Point Dragon coming up here in about 2 minutes. But Baron is up as well, so we see Hexify ends up going forward here to Garen. Geico ends up roaming up here, so this might be their last attempt to try and pick off Havoc. Havoc is just overall super tanky here. And you see Geico and Zelda ends up bursting them down, so that's a 3 for none, now a 4 for none coming out here. And Geico ends up falling. This is his only death, but they threw everything at him, which lets the rest of his team end up ending the game here. As Team Ghost has a decisive, very decisive game 2 here against T1 Tempest here in this Group C matchup. So, at 24 minutes, fantastic game by Team Ghost all around here, especially with a sub mid laner. Well, let's move over to the client here and see how insane these numbers are going to be. Yeah, Geico almost had 10,000 more gold than Jin. This is a gold lead. They took it and never ever looked back. Holy cow. So, a really decisive victory here for Team Ghost against T1 Tempest here as they start their season off 1-0 in Group C. So, after it's all said and done here for Week 1, this is our results for all of the matches. And every single match that you see here for Week 1 will be on YouTube as a VOD for anybody to go back and look at. So, and then just to kind of hover over the standings here, this is what we got. So yeah, all in all, it's a really, really solid season. There has been a couple of Week 2 matchups played, so the standings are going to reflect those. But this is kind of where we're at right now in the Midwest Winter League split. So, hope everybody has a fantastic day, and we'll see you starting this week for a bunch of the Week 2 matchups. Peace.